down a few points because I am one of those people that have the tendency to ramble on and on and on and tell a lot of stories. So I'm just going to go straight to the point. So first off, when I was a resident in my first year, I burnt out pretty badly. And I'm talking about burnout, anxiety, depression, suicidality, the whole nine. But I look back and I call that a gift. Because I burnt out so early in my career, I was able to graduate from residency with a mind to create a life that I want, not just try to fit my life to within my career. So as you go through residency, you need to start to think about, don't just think about the survival of day to day. Think about, after residency, what do I want my life to look like? Not what do I want my career to look like, and then you know what, I'll fit my life around it. Because that is a sure recipe for ongoing burnout, because you end up living someone else's life and not yours. So they gave me the interesting topic of well-being and professional identity, and I'm going to tell you this. Your well-being is more important than your professional identity. Because without well-being, you do not have any professional identity. You may not even have your life. In the US, we have 400 doctors who commit suicide every year. And that is a very horrible statistic that you do not want to be a part of. And if you think, oh, it can't happen to me, that is sort of, I would say, setting yourself up for disaster. You do really have to be able to take some time, sit back, look inward and decide, what do I want my life to look like? Not just what do I want medicine to look like, what do I want my whole life to look like? So in terms of my career, my family, where do I want to live? You know, I have a friend who, she could have been some top person at Harvard, but she said, me and my husband want to live among the mountains and go skiing. So she moved to Idaho and she's built career and business for herself and she's doing very well. So your identity is all about you. You know, when I was graduating, somebody said to me, so where are you going to work? I said, oh, you know, I have an outpatient job on the south side. I worked in an underserved area. The first thing she said to me, and she was a junior, she said, you're going to waste your talent in a no-brainer job. I was like, When you graduate, you go do whatever you want. It's my life. It's your life. Yes, you're a resident. Yes, it feels like probably the worst hazing of your life. But at the end of the day, it is your life. And you get to decide how you want to live it. If you want to go and work a 9 to 5, which was what I wanted to do, I had a young family and I wanted to create certain traditions. And that was important to me. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go work in a job where I go to work, I get there at 9, 5 o'clock, I say bye-bye, and I go home to my kids. I didn't make as much money as, say, a hospitalist, which a lot of people were going into. I wasn't the sort of brilliant academic, going into the academic program to be a fellow. But I was like, this is my life. No one is going to live it for me. And nobody's going to live with the consequences of what you decide to do. Like, you're the one that's going to live with the consequences. So if you're bowing to what will people say, oh, everybody in my residency program is doing fellowship, but I don't want to. Everybody in my residency is going to another academic center, but I don't want to. Everybody is not going to live your life. It's your life. So you get to decide how you want to live this one life that we have on earth. So, as they said in the ethics program, a well doctor is the best kind of doctor. A burnt out doctor is not a great doctor because you're not going to be making the best decisions for yourself. So they were talking about this gentleman who did all these prescriptions and, you know, ended up going to jail. I can almost guarantee you that this man probably, for all the jail he went, I think he went to jail, right? We've heard stories of doctors who did unethical stuff. We're so burnt out, we have to find an escape. They do this unethical stuff. They go to jail for $30,000. I'm like, excuse me, sorry, but if I'm going to go to jail, not for that amount of money, because, like, why would you lose your license for $30K? That you can literally, the minute you sign the paper on your graduation, you could go out somewhere and work and get a locums that will pay you that same money in 2 weeks. But a burnt-out doctor is not a sensible doctor. So you have to make sure you're doing things to prevent burnout in yourself and to stay well mentally and physically. Because guess what? Your body is not just the thing that carries your brain around. Your body is the thing that, helps you live. So why will you not take care of it? So I'm going to go quick. I have something I call the 5 pillars of balance model. So I'm going to run through that in the next, 10 seconds. So first off, spiritual. I don't know where your beliefs are, but you should have some practices that feed your spirit. So for me, it was prayer, meditation, and going to church. Your physical body, look. Eat less sugar, eat less junk food, and that will solve 90% of your problems. Oh, I feel sleepy. Oh, you're eating too much sugar, so your blood sugar is going up and down, up and down, up and down. You know this. But, we use food for comfort. Oh, I'm on call. I have to eat this gigantic rice, and I would eat like a whole red snapper and this big thing of rice, or I would eat like a whole porterhouse steak. What? I did not need that much meat. Emotional well-being. So my 5 pillars of balance are spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, and your relationships. So I've done spiritual, physical. Emotional, you need to process your emotions rather than suppress them. If you lost a patient and you're sad about it, when you go home, please go lock yourself in your shower and have a good cry. It's okay. But when you keep suppressing your emotions, that's what leads to things like depression, anxiety, psychosis, etc., and eventually burnout and suicide. So you need to be able to get good at processing your own emotions, talking things over with a friend, a trusted mentor, and things of that nature. And it doesn't matter whether you are male or female. Everybody has emotions, and doctors are exposed to a lot. You're exposed to your patient's emotions that you have to handle. You have your own emotions over certain things. You have to find a way to process your emotions, therapy, etc. I could go, this is a whole thing itself, but I'm just giving you the highlights. For your mental health, use all resources that are available to you. There are physician hotlines that will talk you through certain things confidentially. You may not want to go to your workplace. So when I burnt out, I was like a bit scared to start talking to people. I will go on my record, blah, blah, blah. If that's a worry, there are resources available. There are so many things that help physicians, because realizing that there are psychiatrists that work confidentially with physicians and won't go on your record and things of that nature. They're out there. Last but not the least, relationships, that's the last of the 5 pillars. Have at least 2 people that can support you through thick and thin. People that you can tell anything to. Thankfully, I had a lot of support. My program director was so supportive. My husband was supportive. Although he himself was in residency, he was a year ahead of me. And then I later on, I employed this lady to look after my kids, who almost became like a big sister to me, to be able to talk to. Finally, in the words of the late, great William Osler, the young doctor should look about early for an avocation that takes him away from patients, pills, and potions. That applies not only to young doctors, but to older doctors as well. What is it in your life that is the thing that you do that's not medicine? Remember, your life cannot be patients first, patients only, patients all the time. Medicine first, medicine only, medicine all the time. You need an avocation. You need a hobby. You need something that takes you away from patients, pills, and potions. Thank you very much.